Hi. Today I'm going to share a topic called Finding Jobs and Overcoming Financial Karma. With COVID-19 pandemic and world political and economic crisis, many people are either losing jobs or facing financial difficulties. That's why I want to share with you the following information with the hope that it will bring some light and encouragement to everyone. The following information I'm going to share is an excerpt from a lecture given by a very senior USA SGI member called Greg Martin. Quote, "A man came to see me recently and told me that he needed help with his financial karma. He went on to explain how deep and profound his financial karma was. He hadn't been able to fix it in his 10 years of practice. My first question to him was, 'What kind of work do you do?' He said he was out of work. I asked him why. He said he quit his job 6 months before. I asked him why. He said he got into a disagreement with his boss and felt that he had to quit. I asked about the job he had before that. He said that he got fired because he got angry with his boss. He told me he quit the job before that one. This person, in his 10 years of practice, had 8 jobs and lost them. I asked him how he expected to have financial fortune if he didn't have a job. There is no magic in Buddhism. It is unreasonable to think that one can acquire financial fortune without having a job. He then said that his real question was, why do I have the karma to have authoritarian bosses? Most of us think that the bad things that happen to us are our karma. We think that our karma exists outside of us, but this is not correct. We are not the only ones that bad things are happening to. Bad things happen to everyone. Then what is karma? Karma, in a way, is our inability to deal with or identify the stuff, meaning we don't know what our problems are or how to deal with them. We don't know how to handle the stuff when it hits us, and we end up doing the wrong thing. We end up creating more stuffs for ourselves. In any case, I pointed out to this person his tendency to get angry with his bosses. That was a clear pattern. It was very difficult for this person to realize that his problem was anger. Likewise, it's also very difficult for a person to realize what his problems are and the reasons which made him unsuccessful or unhappy. Buddhism says that if you have anger, you have the poison of arrogance. I told this person that until he was able to control his arrogant mind and his anger, he wouldn't be able to keep a job. He was actually a very talented person at his job, but this led him to think that he could do as he wished at his workplace and treat others badly. I told him that since he needed a way to stop losing jobs, he needed to deal with his karma. I told him not to let his anger defeat him and to sincerely pray for the wisdom to respond to situations in a way other than anger. To date, he has been employed for 3 years and has just bought a house. He had changed his financial karma." Unquote. Well, speaking for myself, I was born in a very chaotic family. My father had a lot of mistresses, and my father always quarreled with my mother, and my grandmother beat my mother up. So I had been raised as a very, very angry person, resulting in a lot of misery and bad relationships, creating problems in a lot of situations. I did not realize that anger was my tendency until someone pointed out to me, and he said, "Lydia, why are you angry with myself?" So I wasn't angry with other people. I was also angry with myself. So since then, I chanted every day to the Gohanzen to release and let go of my anger. Today, I'm a much happier person, and I can bring happiness to other people. A member in a meeting just said, yes, we have to control our anger because anger is very destructive. But I said that my opinion is we are not just trying to control our anger. To control something, which means that everything is being choked up inside, and very quickly it will burst. Instead, we have to chant and chant to raise our life condition so we are not bothered. We are not angry anymore by outside situations. So if we can see things from a different angle and we are not bothered, then we will not be angry. This is the proper solution, to chant your anger away, to be able to see things from wisdom, from a good perspective. And then there's no more anger. So, what is the greater benefit for the guy who lost his job so many times? Another job? But this means that the guy would probably lose again. Or wisdom to see the root cause of his problem and never have to repeat it. People would pay millions of dollars for wisdom about the true nature of their suffering. Most people cannot see their problems. And if they cannot see their problems, then these are real problems. But if you can see your problem, then there is no problem because you will take steps to correct them. So what is wisdom? Mr. Toda said, wisdom is that which directs knowledge toward good, toward the creation of value. Well, please note that knowledge is very, very different from wisdom. Buddhism also links wisdom to a clear mirror that perfectly reflects reality as it is. Wisdom helps us see things clearly, know the reason for our misfortune, and help us find a solution to solve our problems. If we can bring forth our wisdom, then we know what is the cause of the problem, and then we have the wisdom to find a solution to solve the problem. Then there is no problem, because with chanting we will have the courage to take action to change bad into good. Of course, as we change, our environment reflects this change, and we experience benefit. However, if we try to seek out only the benefit without going through the inner process, eventually nothing will happen. The Gohanzen has almost no power to transform your environment. The Gohanzen, however, does have the power to transform you. When you use the Gohanzen to transform you, then you transform your environment. Our environment is just a reflection of our own life condition and our own self. There is a big difference. We should determine in front of the Gohanzen that we will solve our problem, or that we will overcome our suffering. When you pray to the Gohanzen with that prayer, you will be amazed to find out what you see about yourself and what you need to fix it in your life. Buddhism is about the inner transformation, not about the external transformation. Of course, benefits in the outside environment do come. But really, that's not the point at all. It really is about our inner change. Below, I'm sharing with you another experience by a USA member telling us how he was able to change his financial karma through challenging his own human revolution and fighting for Kosen Rufu. Quote, I made a drastic change in my life 5 years ago by returning to college at age 43 to become a medical assistant. For the next 2 years, while attending classes at night, I was working full-time at a dead-end job and being the official caregiver to my partner, Larry, who was facing health struggles. I also exerted myself to attend SGI activities. It was an extremely challenging situation, but I was determined to change my financial fortune in the long run and have a job that would create great value in society. In my last semester, I was required to do an internship at a hospital. Not only was I dealing with patients and their health, but I was also struggling with my own medical condition, vertigo. This is a disorder in which white patches of skin appear on my face and body due to a loss of pigment. As much as I tried to conquer my vanity, my insecurities got the best of me. These negative feelings intensified when a patient I was working with told me he didn't want me to touch him. In my darkest moments, I always return to my prime point with SGI President Ikeda. In 1996, I supported his visit to New York from behind the scenes amid trying circumstances. On that occasion, Sensei encouraged me to take care of my health, have a clear mind, and fight for Kosen Rufu. Recalling his guidance, I knew I had no other choice but to challenge my situation with strong determination and prayer. I didn't give up, and in 2015, I finished school with very good results. Determined to find a job in the medical field, I resigned from my retail job of 14 years. But my school, which had guaranteed job placement upon graduation, couldn't find one for me. No matter how much I tried, I was rejected left and right. But I knew that a better job was waiting for me. Now, this is the correct attitude. No matter how many times you could not get something, we have to assure ourselves that the best will come to us. Okay, let me go on. I just had to keep chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and taking action. In fall 2016, I found an opportunity to volunteer with the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. I would work with people who were mentally and physically disabled, struggling with drug addiction, or who had past criminal records. While I was struggling to improve my life, I was helping others in even miserable conditions to do the same. I knew I had to claim, earn, and own this position, which I truly desired. A supervisor was not so encouraging, however, telling me that it takes years for someone to get a state job. I began chanting more, sharing Buddhism, visiting the youth as a group leader, and made a wholehearted financial contribution to the SGI. I also did my best to stay connected with President Ikeda by studying his guidance. The members in my district were also chanting for me to break through, and I was so moved by their support. When it seemed that things couldn't get worse, they did. Larry got into a car accident, which put him in the hospital for 3 months, and my food stamps were abruptly stopped. I couldn't even borrow money from my family because everyone was struggling financially. Things got so desperate that I had to ration my meals to 1 slice of bread a day. Through it all, what kept me going was Nichiren Daishonen's words that it could never come about that the prayers of the practitioner of the Lotus Sutra would go unanswered. All I had left to offer was my presence, my voice, and tears in front of the Gohanzen. I had to do my human revolution, fight for Kosen Rufu, and change my karma. I noticed my internal shift when my appreciation for everything began to grow. For instance, when bagels were offered at a staff meeting, I felt deep gratitude for the training I had received as an SGI USA Youth Division member, as I was able to put those skills into use while volunteering. Soon, I received an unexpected call from the state. They wanted confirmation that not only was I volunteering but was also taking on extra hours, all without pay. They said that someone who was willing to take the time out of their life to help others was the type of person they wanted to hire. In November 2016, less than 3 months after I started volunteering, I was offered a full-time position with the state, which doubled the salary from my previous job. Then, about 3 months later, to my family's surprise, my mother sold her house for a huge sum of money. Everyone in my family split the proceeds, which shifted the financial situation for all of us. For the first time in my life, I'm financially secure. Out of appreciation, I'm now participating in the USA SGI Sustaining Contribution Program. In February, I was appointed the Gateway Chapter Leader. So far, our chapter has registered over 220 youths for the 50,000 Lions of Justice Festival. I have personally registered 6 people, and I'm determined to help my other 14 nieces, that's a lot, and nephews emerge as Lions of Justice as well. I will do my best to support the youth by making their dreams my dreams too, and together becoming victorious. I know, without a doubt, that the sufferings of any karma can be transformed into the greatest joy through this practice. I am living proof, unquote. So I hope from this experience, we all learn that no matter how bad your situation could be, you could always change it by giving your full attention to the practice of Nichiren Buddhism, having complete trust in the Gohonzon, keep on chanting, and keep on contributing yourself to help others in the community and to participate in Kosen Rufu. In this way, without knowing it, your situation will become better and better. So instead of lamenting and complaining your own situation, just don't think about yourself. Do as much as you can to help others. Okay, so our next topic is The Heart is a Skilled Painter by President Ikeda. Quote, Spirit means inner state of life or ichinen. It is what decides what we devote our lives to, the fundamental prayer on which we base our existence. A person's spirit is invisible. You cannot see it. But it becomes manifest at the crucial moment. Not only that, but it controls everything about a person, each moment, every day. It is the fundamental determination of one's life. Well, in fact, in simple terms, it means that our own spirit, although we do not see it, when things happen, it is the spirit that makes you do what you want to do. So if you are in a high life condition, when you come across great difficulties, you will have enough courage and wisdom to see it through and to deal with it. But if your life condition is low, you will shy away from your problems and not complain about your situation and not do anything. Okay, let me go on. The Qigong Sutra, Hua Yim Ging, says, the heart is like a skilled painter. Life, like a great painter, The heart freely creates representations of all things. Your heart is the designer, the painter, the sculptor, the architect of your being. It is one's spirit, one's life moment that counts. Your spirit is your hope, prayer, and it can also be identified with the subconscious. What kind of future do I envisage? I always have problem pronouncing this word. Envisage for myself. What kind of self am I trying to develop? What do I want to accomplish in my life? The thing is to paint this vision in your heart as specifically as possible. That painting itself becomes the design of your future. The power of the heart enables us actually to execute with our lives a wonderful masterpiece in accordance with that design. This is the doctrine of 3,000 rhymes in a single moment of life. The more consistent and detailed the blueprint we have in our hearts, the better. The point is to continue vividly painting the target we have for ourselves in our hearts and to advance towards the goal single-mindedly. Then, at each instant, the reality of our lives will gradually approach the painting that is our aspiration. Well, as for myself, ever since I was a little girl, I was born and raised in Hong Kong, but I think Hong Kong is too crowded. I've always wanted to be able to live overseas or study overseas. I can see myself sitting down under a tree on a huge grass lawn reading a book, or sitting under a tree by the river, which is away from not in Hong Kong but overseas. But unfortunately, my family's financial condition would not allow me to study overseas. But I did not give up my dream and my vision. And so here I am, living in Sydney in a very, very nice environment with lots of trees and grass. I never give up my dream nor my hope. Everything depends on what is in our hearts. Heartfelt prayers will definitely be answered. If we decide that something is impossible, then, consistent with our minds in thinking so, even something that is possible for us will become impossible. On the other hand, if we have the confidence that we can definitely do something, then we are already one step closer to achieving it in reality. Unquote. All right, so for me, I remember reading a story about a woman whose husband left her. Then every day, sitting on a sofa, she envisioned her husband sitting next to her on the sofa watching TV. And in a few months' time, her husband did come back and sit on the sofa watching TV with her. Visualization is another thing we can do to help bring forth the results we want. But of course, chanting is the most important aspect to help us achieve our goals. Next topic. Never seek this Gohonzon outside yourself. In this selection, President Ikeda explains the profound principle of tapping the power of the Gohonzon in our lives. The immeasurable life force, and limitless wisdom expressed by the Gohonzon are also inherent in our lives, and our Buddhist faith and practice enable us to exercise them with unrestricted freedom. In any religion, the object of worship or devotion holds a place of prime importance. What then is the true meaning of the objects of devotion or the Gohonzon in Nichiren Buddhism? In the real aspect of the Gohonzon, the Daishonin states, never seek this Gohonzon outside yourself. The Gohonzon exists only within the mortal flesh of us ordinary people who embrace the Lotus Sutra and chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Discussing this passage in one of his lectures, Mr. Toda said, "Although we may pray to this great Gohonzon, thinking it exists outside us, the reality is that it resides directly with the lives of us who chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, with faith in the Gohonzon. We, in fact, are the Gohonzon." This passage from the Daishonin is truly inspiring. When we chant to the Gohonzon, we are at the stage of hearing the name and words of the truth. At this stage, the Gohonzon already shines brilliantly within us. However, the degree to which it shines will differ depending upon the strength of each person's faith. It's like a light bulb. A high-watt light bulb shines brightly, and a low-watt light bulb shines faintly. To continue with the analogy of a light bulb, for those who haven't yet embraced a mystic law, the light bulb isn't connected to a power source. Whereas for us, practitioners of the mystic law, the light bulb, that is the Gohonzon, is already turned on. Therefore, our lives shine brightly. Everything depends on the strength of our faith. When we have strong faith, our life itself becomes a cluster of blessings, which is how the Daishonin describes the Gohonzon. He further states, this Gohonzon also is found only in the two characters of faith. People of strong faith, therefore, never reach a deadlock. No matter what happens, they can transform everything into a source of benefit and happiness. I remember a senior member in Australia once told me, she said, "Lydia, I have absolute faith in the Gohonzon and I'm always happy because I understand and I know that whatever happens will turn out to be a benefit." Now this is the attitude. If we can adopt, then we can always be happy. Well, naturally, in the long course of our lives, we are bound to encounter various kinds of problems and suffering, but we will be able to turn all difficulties into nourishment for developing a higher state of life. In this respect, for practitioners of Nichiren Buddhism, everything is ultimately a source of benefit and happiness at the most profound level. The word unhappiness does not exist in the vocabulary of those who have strong faith. Faith enables us to manifest the Gohonzon that exists within us. It allows us to bring forth the diamond-like state of the Buddha and make it shine brightly. Within the depths of our lives, we each inherently possess boundless life force and a wellspring of infinite wisdom. Faith allows us to freely tap that inner life force and wisdom. Mr. Toda often used to say, "What is inside you comes out. What is not there won't." The strong and pure state of Buddhahood and the weak and base states of hell, hunger, and animality all exist within our lives and are manifested in response to causes and conditions in our environment. Since life is eternal throughout the three existences of past, present, and future, our past karma may also haunt us in the form of some major problem or suffering. However, just as the cause of suffering lies within our lives, we also possess the power to transform our suffering into happiness. This is the power of the life state of Buddhahood. As Mr. Toda declared, ultimately, human beings are the product of what lies inside them. No more, no less. It is vital, therefore, that we each cultivate the earth of our lives and put down deep and extensive roots of happiness. We must manifest the Gohonzon that exists within us and forge a self that is as unshakable as a mighty tree. In terms of daily lives, it will manifest as benefit and good fortune. The crucial point is whether we have faith. We must never make light of the Nichiren's assertion that it is the heart that is important. What matters is not form, or is not from a person's position or wealth. Those who have faith in their hearts are truly happy. The next topic. Do we look at Myo while chanting? Looking at the Gohonzon is like looking at the universe, like having a vast, commanding view of its entirety. The Gohonzon is a representative of the driving force and the essence of the universe itself. Therefore, whatever part we look at, it is just as if we are looking at the universe. In that respect, it doesn't really matter where we fix our gaze. Still, it is easier to chant if we focus on the center. It was said that Myo represents the human head, and we should look at it when we chant. Just look at the part of the Gohonzon that you feel most comfortable focusing on. The Lotus Sutra says that one should perceive the true aspect by sitting straight. From the point of view of Nichiren Buddhism, the true aspect means Gohonzon. To perceive means to have faith. Sitting up straight, facing the Gohonzon and chanting the Daimoku with firm faith in the Gohonzon is what it means to have sincere, dedicated faith. The Gosho does not tell us where we should fix our gaze at the Gohonzon when we chant. There is no rigidity in this practice. In his great compassion, Nichiren Daishonin has permitted us the freedom to chant in a way best suited to us. Our next topic is how to word our prayers. I'm going to share with you how Sensei teaches Mrs. Ikeda to word her prayers. Mrs. Ikeda said, when Shirohisa, her son, was small, he caught a terrible cold. At that time, my husband, and that is Sensei, asked me how I was praying. I told him that I was praying that my son's cold not become too serious. But my husband said, you should pray for him to never catch a cold. In this way, he taught me how to approach prayer. His chanting of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo was focused and to the point. Nothing was wasted. Once, when I said I intend to win, he told me, don't say intend. Say that you will win. When it came to matters of faith, he was strict. Therefore, when I prayed for my children's safety, I prayed that they would never have any accident. Aware of our responsibility, the children themselves, I believe, took special care to avoid accidents. Actually, when I first started to practice Nichiren Buddhism, the senior member told me, she said, Lydia, when you chant for something, just don't say that I hope. Say, I will. I must. Be so determined that this is the power to bring forth the things that you want in your life. Very, very assertive. All right, below I'm going to share with you another passage by Greg Martin. Quote, I was talking to someone yesterday from Oklahoma City. He said, I was told to pray specifically. So, I'm praying for a yellow Mercedes, a convertible with leather seats. Well, that is specific. That is true. But we say that our prayers must be linked to Kozen Rufu. So this guy's words his prayers differently. He said, I want a bright yellow Mercedes convertible with leather seats. He was specific. And later he added, oh yeah, it is for Kozen Rufu. So very often, we know we have to say it is for Kozen Rufu. Is that right? So we state it at the back of our prayers. We just make sure that every one of our desires, we state it is all for Kozen Rufu. We just add it in. That is not what it should be. What we should say is, in order for me to contribute to Kozen Rufu and practice for others, I need dependable transport. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That is a whole different prayer. It matters why you want things. It matters a lot. I remember once reading Sensei's guidance. He said, "Why do you want a house? Why do you pray for a house? It is because you want to contribute your house for meetings, for Kozen Rufu. Why do you want a car? Because you want the car to be so you can provide transport for all other members. And if you truly want to do Kozen Rufu with what you're asking for, then you will get it." Now, one thing we have to be very sure. If you chant for something because of Kozen Rufu, after you get that something, you have to carry out your promise. If you do get a house that you have chanted for Kozen Rufu, you must use your house for members, to hold meetings, to encourage people, to chant with other people. If you don't do it, you are cheating the Gohonsen, and as a result, you will lose everything that you have, or even worse. So please remember, honor your prayers. Okay, my next topic is on the silent prayers we offered during Gongyo. President Ikeda said, "I would like to touch upon the silent prayers that we offered during Gongyo. Silent prayers are offered in the heart. Accordingly, even though we may read their words, it is what we are actually thinking, the thoughts occurring to us, that become our prayers." President Toda said, "Since we are human, it is only natural that various thoughts will occur to us while we are chanting Daimoku. But if we chant earnestly, then gradually we will become able to focus entirely on the Gohonsen. If we chant with an earnest frame of mind, our various worries about our daily lives will be resolved. At that time, for example, the complaints of a spouse will sound as soothing as a lullaby. Because our life condition is high, everything becomes very pleasant and pleasing. But let's be careful when offering silent prayers. The thoughts in our heart are clearly expressed to the Gohonsen. If during the silent prayers we think, that fellow is a real rascal, then even though we may be reading the silent prayer's words, it is the thought in our heart, he is a real rascal, that becomes our prayer to the Gohonsen. This is why we have to be very careful. When we chant and we offer our prayers, please do not harbor any negative thoughts in your mind, because these thoughts will come true. Because our chanting and our thoughts are very powerful. Offering the silent prayers properly is a decisive struggle. The prayers that someone offers reflect his or her life state. Prayers have to be concrete, and they must be earnest and with determination. Whether chanting Daimoku or offering silent prayers, the most important thing is to pray with a determined mind. I am going to win. I'm going to achieve my goals. I'm going to solve all the problems. This is the attitude we should have and the determination we should have when we chant and pray. Prayers should not be abstract. The Buddhas and the Buddhist gods respond to earnest, strong prayers arising from the very depths of one's life. As a summary, I would like to quote again what Nichiren Daishonin says, "No prayers of a practitioner goes unanswered." Thank you very much. This is all I have to share today. Thank you for listening. Thank you.